On the evening of October 24, 2015, Lee Antoni was speaking to his wife by telephone. He was hundreds of miles away, visiting his mother in Saskatchewan. Amanda was alone at their home in Calgary. At first, the conversation sounded ordinary. Amanda said her migraine was improving. Their dog, Ruby, could be heard moving nearby. Then Ruby suddenly began barking. Lee heard Amanda tell the dog to be quiet. There was a sharp disturbance. The telephone call ended. Lee called back. No answer. He sent messages. No reply. 2 days later, he returned home and found Amanda at the bottom of the basement stairs. She was 31 years old. Investigators initially believed they were looking at the scene of a violent crime. But after 14 months of interviews, forensic examinations, and unanswered questions, Calgary police reached a different conclusion. They believed Amanda may have died in a tragic accident. There was only one problem. Even investigators could not explain everything. Amanda Hogg grew up in Calgary, Alberta. Friends and relatives remembered her as warm, compassionate, and deeply connected to the people she loved. She met Lee Antoni in 2009. Their relationship developed quickly, but family members said it was genuine. They married in 2011 and eventually settled in Calgary's Castle Ridge neighborhood. Their home was modest and busy. They shared it with their dog, Ruby, and 2 cats, Gizmo and Meatloaf. It was the kind of place filled with normal domestic evidence: pet bowls, keys on a table, a chair slightly out of position, and a telephone that was never far away. Nothing about it seemed likely to become the center of a mystery. Amanda lived with recurring migraines that could become severe. In October 2015, Lee planned to drive to Saskatchewan to spend time with his mother around the anniversary of his father's death. Amanda intended to accompany him. But as the weekend approached, another migraine began. She decided the long drive would be too difficult and stayed home. According to the couple's family, it was the first weekend Amanda and Lee had spent apart during their marriage. Lee left Calgary early on Friday, October 23. The drive to his mother's home took approximately 8 hours. Investigators would later confirm his journey and his presence in Saskatchewan, placing him far from Calgary when Amanda was believed to have died. Throughout Saturday, the couple exchanged messages. Nothing in those communications reportedly suggested that Amanda was frightened or expecting trouble. Then, early Saturday evening, Lee called her. Amanda said she was feeling better. The conversation continued normally until Ruby began barking. Lee later recalled hearing Amanda react to the dog. He then heard a disturbance and the connection stopped. What happened in the next few seconds may be the key to the entire case. Did Amanda simply drop her phone? Did Ruby startle her near the basement stairway? Had someone entered the home? Or was the sound Lee heard the beginning of an accident that nobody witnessed? Lee attempted to contact Amanda again but received no response. He initially believed there might be a problem with her phone. According to the case account, the device had not always worked reliably. He also knew Amanda had been dealing with a migraine and may have gone to sleep. As Saturday became Sunday, however, the silence became harder to explain. Lee continued calling and sending messages. Still nothing. By Sunday evening, he was worried enough to shorten his visit and begin preparing to return. He planned to arrive the next day without telling Amanda, hoping to surprise her. On Monday, October 26, Lee reached the house. The first details he noticed were ordinary but unsettling. The animals were distressed. Their food and water bowls were empty, and Ruby had been unable to go outside. Amanda's purse and keys were still inside. Lee searched the living room, kitchen, bathroom, and bedrooms. There was no sign of her. Only one part of the house remained: the basement. When Lee switched on the stairway light and looked down, he saw evidence that something serious had happened below. He found Amanda unresponsive in a small area adjoining the main basement. He rushed upstairs and called emergency services. The responding officers immediately treated the property as a possible crime scene. The house appeared to contain signs of sudden disruption. Amanda's damaged phone was found on the main floor, some distance from the basement steps. A dining room chair was overturned. Near the stair opening sat a ceramic piggy bank. It was cracked, but it had not fallen from its ledge. Small fragments connected the object to Amanda's injuries. In the basement, marks indicated that Amanda had moved after reaching the bottom of the stairs. At first glance, the scene seemed to tell a clear story. There had been a confrontation. Or at least, that was what investigators initially suspected. Calgary police opened a homicide investigation. They began with the person closest to Amanda. Lee was interviewed, and his movements were examined. Investigators checked the long drive, his stay with his mother, and the communications between him and Amanda. His alibi held. He had been in Saskatchewan, approximately 8 hours away, when forensic findings placed Amanda's death on Saturday evening. That estimated time coincided closely with the telephone call that had ended without warning. Police then considered whether an unknown person had entered the home. Castle Ridge experienced property crime, and people occasionally entered yards in the neighborhood looking for recyclable items. Some residents recalled hearing unusual noise near the Antoni home around the relevant time. One account involved loud sounds followed by voices. Another witness reported seeing someone running through a nearby yard. But those observations could not be conclusively linked to Amanda. There were no clear signs of forced entry. Lee could not later remember with certainty whether every door had been locked when he returned. An intruder might have entered through an unlocked door, but investigators needed evidence, not merely a possible route. They searched for fingerprints, biological material, shoe impressions, and other traces that could identify another person. No persuasive forensic trail emerged. The basement presented an especially difficult problem. Despite the extent of the scene, testing reportedly identified only Amanda's DNA and the relevant evidence. Investigators found no clear sign that another person had walked through the area. Objects placed on the basement stairs remained largely undisturbed. If someone had attacked Amanda upstairs, forced her down the steps, followed her, and then left, where were that person's traces? And if nobody else had been there, how could an accident create a scene that initially appeared so suspicious? Investigators began reconstructing the architecture of the stairway. The basement opening was unusually exposed. A person approaching from the dining area could lose balance and fall toward the stairwell. The ceramic piggy bank sat on a ledge near the opening. Police considered whether Amanda could have struck it during a fall before continuing down the stairs. The theory could account for the damaged object and her serious head injury. It might also explain why the staircase itself did not display the kind of disturbance expected from an extended confrontation. But the accident theory created new questions. How had Amanda's phone landed away from the stairs? Why was the dining room chair overturned? Why had the piggy bank cracked without falling from its ledge? What exactly caused Ruby to bark during the call? And most troubling of all, if Amanda was capable of moving after the fall, why did she not climb back upstairs or reach a telephone? Forensic evidence suggested that Amanda had stood unmoved within the basement. Investigators considered the effects of a serious head injury, confusion, impaired judgment, weakness, loss of orientation, and an inability to understand the danger. Amanda may have attempted to move without realizing how badly she was hurt. The basement light may have been off after the fall. In darkness and disorientation, the short distance back to the stairs could have become an impossible route. There was another emotional detail. Family members said Amanda disliked the basement. If she remained conscious there, why would she stay in the place that frightened her? One possibility was physical incapacity. Another was confusion caused by the fall. Some wondered whether she feared that someone remained upstairs. But no evidence proved that another person had been present. Even the behavior of the pets became part of the mystery. Ruby had not gone into the basement to stay beside Amanda. Neither had the cats. Was the dog frightened by the stairs, the darkness, or something that had happened? Had the animals simply avoided a part of the house they rarely entered? Their behavior felt meaningful, but animals cannot explain what they witnessed. Investigators could not treat instinct or interpretation as forensic proof. The overturned chair offered the same problem. It could suggest a struggle. But it could also have been knocked over accidentally, possibly during Amanda's sudden movement or by one of the pets during the long period before Lee returned. The broken telephone could indicate that Amanda dropped it while being confronted. Or it could have flown from her hand as she lost her balance. Nearly every object supported more than one story. For 14 months, homicide investigators examined those competing explanations. They found no confirmed suspect. They found no reliable motive for someone to attack Amanda. They found no foreign DNA or physical trail demonstrating that another person had entered the basement. Eventually, Calgary police announced that Amanda's death was most consistent with an accidental fall. The conclusion did not mean every investigator felt certain. It meant the available evidence did not establish a homicide. That distinction is crucial. Police did not prove exactly how Amanda fell. They did not identify the precise source of every sound heard during the telephone call. They did not fully explain the chair, the location of the phone, or why Amanda remained below. They concluded that no evidence supported charging another person and that an accident best fit the forensic findings. Amanda's family struggled with that answer. To them, the unresolved details were not small. They knew Amanda as someone determined and resilient. They found it difficult to accept that she could move after the fall but never make it upstairs. They wondered whether someone had frightened her, even if that person never entered the basement. They wanted an explanation that accounted for every object, every sound, and every unanswered call. The official theory could explain much of the evidence, but it could not give them certainty. Years later, the case received renewed attention through Unsolved Mysteries. The episode allowed detectives, family members, and viewers to revisit the evidence. But public attention introduced a new danger: suspicion directed at people without proof. Some online discussions accused Lee simply because he was Amanda's husband and the last person known to speak with her. The documented timeline, however, placed him far from Calgary when she died. Investigators verified his alibi and did not identify evidence connecting him to a crime. Grief does not follow a script, and a person's appearance or behavior in an interview is not evidence of guilt. The responsible question is not which person looks suspicious on camera. It is which explanation fits the physical evidence. An intruder theory may account for the barking, the abrupt end of the call, and the disturbed objects upstairs. But it struggles to explain the absence of another person's trace. The accident theory may account for the forensic evidence, the exposed staircase, and the lack of a suspect. But it leaves the sequence before the fall, and Amanda's movements afterward, uncertain. The case sits squarely between those possibilities. Not because investigators ignore the evidence, but because the evidence itself refuses to tell one complete story. Amanda Antoni's death is often remembered because of the basement. But her life should not be reduced to the place where it ended. She was a daughter, sister, wife, friend, and the familiar voice on the other end of an ordinary Saturday telephone call. Her family did not lose a mystery. They lost Amanda. For Lee, the last conversation contains a moment he can never recover. A dog barked. Amanda spoke. The connection ended. Had he known what the silence meant, he would have understood that those ordinary sounds might be the final record of her life. But people do not experience tragedy with the knowledge of what comes next. They make decisions using the information they have at the time. That may be the most unsettling truth in this case. There may have been no hidden attacker, elaborate plan, or clue waiting to reveal everything. A familiar room, an exposed stairway, a brief loss of balance, and an injury that caused confusion may have been enough. Or one unknown presence may have left without leaving a measurable trace. Both possibilities remain painful. The official finding favors an accident. The family's questions remain. And the final seconds of Amanda's telephone call still stand between them. What made Ruby bark? What caused the disturbance? Why did Amanda's phone go silent at almost the exact time investigators believe she died? And if she was alone, why did the scene look so much like someone else had been there? Until evidence answers those questions, Amanda Antoni's story will remain balanced on the edge of that basement stairway, between a terrible accident and the possibility of something investigators could never prove. But whichever explanation is true, the mystery should never become more important than the woman at its center. Her name was Amanda Antoni. She was 31 years old. And one interrupted telephone call became the last known window into what happened inside her home.